On the evening of 15 April 2022, I was home with my son when I received a phone call around 9 o'clock, 2100 hours, multiple phone calls from both normal and over WhatsApp from one Kobus Janse van Rensburg, whom is the owner of Ghost Guard Security situated in Springs, informing me that he had an operation planned for that evening and that he required my assistance in knocking the house of a suspect suspected of a warehouse invasion and robbery in Brakpan, and that he has law enforcement members assisting him. Paragraph 3. I informed him that I am unable to assist as I'm looking after my son, as my wife is at hospital with my younger son who was ill. Eventually I gave in and he forwarded me via WhatsApp a pin location for a meeting up and operational briefing. This location was shared on a WhatsApp group we, the team that was supposed to apprehend the suspect, used for stock recoveries. The pin location provided by Kobus Janse van Rensburg took me to Sally's village in Brakpan, where some SAPS, EMPD, and private security members waited for us. Upon my arrival, I found Ekurhuleni, a SAPS informer of ill repute, Viandre Pretorius, a person that frequently presents himself as a SAPS member, Constable John Marie Extian from North East Rand Flying Squad, Constable Zander Fritz, Reservist Constable from SAPS Brakpan, with 2 SAPS Brakpan officers unknown to me. Present were also EMPD officers Kersha Lee Stolz, Aiden McKenzie, Etienne van der Walt from Titan Security, and other members whom I cannot identify.
Now, you say after you all arrived at the location to which you were directed, there was a briefing given to you collectively. Can you deal with that briefing?
Commissioners, if I may, before the briefing commenced, I did ask Kobus to proceed with me to go and buy cold drinks first before we deploy or brief. When myself and Kobus were alone, as per my statement, we went to the convenience store down the road at a BP in Springs Road. At this stage, I told Kobus I'm uncomfortable with the members present to assist us as they are dangerous. Kobus told me to relax as the intel is solid and that the intel was verified by Ekurhuleni, which made me more uncomfortable. But we went back to the briefing location at 2nd Road, Springs and Sally's Roads. Springs Road, sorry, my apologies, and Sally's Village. The briefing commenced.
Apologies, Witness D. Witness D, before you continue, my apologies. Could you try and move closer, either closer to your computer or pull it towards you? Sometimes you are less audible than when you start. I don't know whether it's because you move away. That's much better, thank you. You may continue. You may continue. No, we heard you, but we hear you better now. You may continue.
My apologies again, Advocate. Okay.
It's quite an honor. Thank you, Witness C.
Shortly after arriving, Kobus and Hanekom briefed the teams and we proceeded to the suspect's location in Crocodile Road, Sally's Village in Brakpan. I was alone in my vehicle, a black marked Guardian Security Ford Ranger, and I proceeded to park opposite the property. That was the target property. Present at the premises was the members mentioned, myself and Constable Extian from Highway or Flying Squad, my apologies, and Aiden McKenzie from EMPD. Proceeded to a garage or outside building, outside or just off the main house. And we proceeded to gain entry to an outside room. We found a couple, a male, female, and a baby, infant baby. Constable Extian identified herself and the reason for our intrusion and started asking them about the suspect and his movements, etc. Shortly after this, we received communication that the main team had located the suspect in the main house. We left the family in the outside room and proceeded to the main house and gained access to the house through the kitchen door. On my way to the main house, I spotted a white 4-ton truck with a specific number plate that had been used in the warehouse robbery, which is the vehicle that led us to this particular address. As I entered the house from the kitchen door, I found Fritz, that is Zander Fritz, Constable Zander Fritz, Viandre Pretorius, Kershaw Lee Stalls, Aiden McKenzie was with us, obviously, Kobus, and some EMPD officers I cannot identify, Jaco Hanekom, Etienne van der Walt, present, and in the two SAPS, unknown SAPS officers from Brakpan. And a unknown male who was reported to be the suspect. The unknown male, when questioned, admitted that he was involved in the invasion and the robbery of the warehouse. He claimed, however, that all he did was transport of the stolen property. The suspect further requested that we not hurt him, as he had 500,000 rand in the house in cash, which he tried to bribe us with, or the officers with. After the suspect mentioned the cash, the two unknown members from Brakpan SAPS and Viandre Pretorius then pushed the man into the second bedroom and closed the door behind them. Everyone else, including myself, searched the rest of the house. In the main bedroom, the EMPD officers, unknown to me, found case dockets where the suspect is identified as a suspect in the particular crime or is otherwise mentioned. Some SAPS forensic bags, as well as a number of live ammunition rounds, was found. The other rooms contained various tools or garden tools or welding equipment. I then went into the bedroom where the suspect had been taken to by the Brakpan SAPS members with Viandre Pretorius. I noticed Viandre Pretorius, the suspect, with a plastic bag with the two SAPS Brakpan members assisting him from the right-hand side of the double bed. Tubing is where a plastic bag gets placed over a person's head, and that person gets suffocated to the point that he talks or cannot breathe, no longer breathe, and then obviously that we will, or they would obviously then ask him to talk to us, before, obviously to avoid this from taking place again. I entered the room and sat next to the suspect on the left-hand side of the bed. When Viandre stopped, I asked the suspect to tell me where the stolen stock was being kept. The suspect replied that he will show us. I picked up a wooden table leg that was broken from inside the room, held his legs down with it as to not touch him with my hands as he was wet. Viandre then continued tubing in with the one unknown Brakpan SAPS member, helping to hold him down, while the other was searching the drawers, etc. I got up and left the room. The other people were still searching the room. It was quite clear, or the house, my apologies, Commissioners. It was quite clear at this stage that the stock from the warehouse robbery was not in the house. As I entered the passage towards the kitchen, I saw one EMPD officer taking a bucket of water to the room where the suspect was being kept. In the kitchen, I found Kershaw Lee Stalls searching the cupboards. I walked out of the house and stood on the steps. A short while later, I walked back into the kitchen and found Kershaw Lee on her phone. She ended the call and shouted for everyone to move outside into the yard and went towards the second bedroom. As I moved towards the door, I noticed two unknown Brakpan SAPS members leaving the house in haste. One of them was carrying a small black sports bag. I exited the house. I was joined outside in the garden next to the truck by Kobus and the others. Shortly after this, Viandre and Kershaw Lee joined us. I asked whether a suspect talked, and Viandre responded that he will never ever talk again. A discussion between the law enforcement members then took place as to how to deal with the scene. Kershaw Lee tried phoning a paramedic to declare the suspect dead. Viandre approached me and informed me that he will phone General Feroz Khan to fix this. I in turn responded and said no, as this is Viandre's problem he responded and said, it's all of us in this, and if anyone talks, he will go to prison for killing them. I walked away from Deandre, and I walked away from Deandre, as myself and Deandre have had issues in the past. I saw Yaku Hanekom walking towards us. Yaku then informed myself and Deandre that the chief will come and sort out the issue. I noticed John Marie Ekstein, Zanner Fritz, and other members leaving, including Kobus Jansen van Rensburg from Coast Guard, to go and look for a firearm to plant at this house.
Apologies, Witness D, you say that Yako informed all of you that the chief would come and sort out the issue. Do you know who he was referring to when he said the chief?
Commissioners, at that stage, I did not know who he was referring to. And as continued in my statement, I walked to the main gate after this was said, and after I noticed the members that I've mentioned walk away to go and get a firearm to plant.
Yes.
I walked to the main gate of the property and saw that my vehicle, which is a Ford Ranger, black in color, marked, was parked in by two marked EMPD vehicles, which prevented me from leaving at that point. It made me question the whole scenario and what was currently taking place. A short while after this, Chief Soup Julius Mkwanazi, JD Mkwanazi, arrived at the scene, and we were informed that this is the chief in a dark tracksuit of some sort.
At this time, apologies, Witness, at this time, did you know who Chief Superintendent Julius Mkwanazi was?
It was my first time seeing him that evening, and then it was obviously when Yaku indicated to us that this is Mkwanazi, Chief Soup Mkwanazi.
Did you know what unit or institution he's aligned to?
From the system, I understood that he was EMPD or Metro Police.
EMPD, you say?
Yeah, or Metro Police, from the rank structure.
Thank you. You may continue.
Thank you, Commissioners. So, Yaku Hanekom and Deandre addressed him as chief, and the Metro members, including Yaku, Kershaw, Etienne was with me at that stage. So the Metro members, they all had a meeting with the soup away from myself and Etienne. Shortly afterwards, they returned to where we were. JD Mkwanazi said that we needed to throw the suspect's body into a mine shaft or dump it into a dam. As he said this, he looked at me. Deandre then in turn informed me that I must take the body and dump it. They will show me where and that I should relax. Since my vehicle is marked, Deandre said it won't attract any attention. I was directed by Deandre at this stage where to park my bakkie next to the front door. That is as you're coming from the main gate. I was escorted to my vehicle by two EMPD members and told where to park it. Yaku Hanekom essentially broke the gate to allow my vehicle entry into the property. I parked my vehicle at the designated spot and walked towards the main gate where I remained until they were finished.
Before you continue, Witness D, apologies, before you continue, you say that when Chief Superintendent Mkwanazi said that the body should be thrown into a mine shaft or dumped into a dam,
yes.
You make the point of stating that when he said that, he looked at you. What did you interpret that to mean?
Commissioners, it was quite clear at this stage that it was expected from me to dispose of the deceased body. And as I said, it's especially after the meeting took place between themselves. It was quite clear that they decided between themselves that I'm the one that's supposed to dispose of the body. And
did you so agree?
I really didn't have a chance to agree. I felt like I was being forced. At this stage, I felt that I was being outnumbered, as the decision was made already, and we're dealing with a a very serious and dangerous situation at this stage already.
Yes.
So I interpret it as if I don't comply, then I would probably be next.
Okay.
Okay, Silo, just a moment.
Do I switch on
Do
the
I
mic?
switch on the?
Let's try that.
Let's try that.
Commissioner, perhaps if you mute on your screen, there might not be a feed.
Yes. Is it much better? Witness D, can you hear me?
I can hear you, Commissioner.
Yes. Up to this point, you referred to the other person as the suspect. Now, for the first
Yes.
time, you are saying it is the deceased. Can you just confirm for the commission how the deceased died, or how did the suspect die? Because up to this point, you were referring to him as the suspect, and you referred to that procedure that was used to torture him. Then you say now for the first time he's the deceased. So just confirm for us how he died.
Commissioners, I cannot attest to how the deceased passed away, as I was not present at that stage in the room. And also, we were not, when Viandre and Kershal's stalls came out of the house, we were not informed of how he died. It was merely from what Viandre said, which is he will never talk again. We arrived at the conclusion that, or myself arrived at the conclusion that the deceased is in fact deceased and no more.
Do you-
Witness.
You, in paragraph 14 of your statement, you said you found Viandre Pretorius body tubing the suspect, and then you describe body tubing as a process where a plastic bag is pulled over somebody's head and it is fastened around their neck in an effort to get them to talk. So let's just go back to paragraph 14. When you saw the body tubing taking place, can you confirm that the suspect was alive at that stage?
Commissioner, I'm at paragraph 14. I can confirm when I left the room,
Yes.
the deceased was still alive.
And then the next time you saw him, we are now later in your statement, he was already dead and you were being given instruction to dispose of the body. Witness D?
It's gonna be
Witness D, did you,
paragraph 27. I saw Ekurhuleni come and Viandre load the deceased. That's the first time that I saw him after the room, where they load the deceased onto my bakkie.
Thank you.
Witness D, when you saw him loaded onto the bakkie, did you see any physical injuries?
Commissioner, at this stage, I was standing at the main gate of the property, which is approximately 10, 15 meters away from where my bakkie was parked, close to the front door. So I could not see any visible injuries. And like I said, I made a point of it, not looking, when I went back to my vehicle, not looking at the deceased. I got into my vehicle, and as indicated, I was instructed to follow EMPD officer Aiden Mackenzie, and Viandre followed behind me. So I made no attempt to look at the deceased.
When you do, and this is me, because I want to complete this question, we know from the statement that you do drive him and then you land up somewhere with him where you dispose of the body.
Yes.
At that point, did you see any physical injuries on him?
Commissioner, as I stated, I have not seen any physical injuries on him, even to the point where I disposed of him. I made a decision not to look at his face, eyes, or any particulars. As indicated from my statement, it was also very dark that evening where I was instructed to dispose of him. So there was no ambient light, and also I did not have a flashlight or anything with me. So literally just got the deceased by his feet, and I had to lift him over my shoulder, and that I was approximately 2 meters away from the dam, where I placed his feet into the water, because at this stage there was still my movements were still being monitored, and I placed the deceased with his back up towards, it was like the banks of the dam. So it was only his feet or his legs that were placed inside the water.
Witness D.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. I was going to ask Witness D to perhaps take a step back, because there are other steps that are important to highlight before you get to the dam. I do appreciate that it was in an attempt to fully address the question posed to you by Commissioner Baloyi as to whether or not you ever saw any injuries on the body. But then to take you back to, you were at 27, when now the body is loaded into your car.
Yes.
If you could
Yes,
take
yes,
it from there and indicate who loaded the body into the back of your vehicle.
Okay, paragraph 27. Whilst I was waiting at my car, I saw Jaco, it's wrong there. Whilst I was waiting, I was actually at the gate. I saw Jaco Hanekom and Etienne van der Walt load household items into the vehicles. Etienne had his girlfriend of the time in another vehicle waiting for him that was parked on the outside of the property, an SUV type vehicle. And Hanekom was driving a red maroon Renault Kwid. After taking the household items, Viandre and Hanekom loaded the body onto my Ford Ranger, while Etienne was in and out of the house. I cannot recall who told me that they were cleaning the house. But after this, Mackenzie informed me that I must follow him and that Viandre will follow in a white Ford Ranger behind us.
Witness D, before you proceed, please go back to paragraph 27. I understood you want to make a change to the statement. Paragraph
Yes.
27 currently reads, whilst I was waiting in my car. You say that is not correct.
That is incorrect, Commissioner.
How should it read? Please indicate.
Well, I was at the main gate, as indicated in paragraph 26.
Yes.
Final wording in paragraph 26. I was at the main gate until they finished and indicated to me to come to my vehicle, where they, obviously upon completion of them loading the body or the deceased onto my vehicle.
Noted. That correction will be effected. Thank you. You may proceed.
Thank you, Advocate. So I'm proceeding with paragraph 28.
You are now at 28.
I got into my vehicle. My apologies. I got into my vehicle and took my cell phone and sent my wife a WhatsApp and informed her not to be alarmed, but that I was sending her my live location. And should she not hear from me in the next hour and a half, then she needs to phone the police. I followed Mackenzie all the way to Brakpan, just outside Nigel, where Mackenzie instructed me to dump the body of the suspect. I did as instructed and placed the deceased body's legs first into the water and let the rest of the body rest on the banks of the dam. I got back into my vehicle and drove towards the R23. At the R23 and R550 intersection, I received a call from a number I did not recognize. When I answered the call, I realized it was Constable XTN phoning me. She asked me if it's done, to which I replied yes. She said that I will see them on my way home, just before Carnival, the city, and I ended the call. Shortly after this, I saw SAS vehicles, EMPD vehicles, and a red Renault Kwid. I realized that they were all parked on the side of Tinus de Jonge Road in Brakpan. I turned right towards them and parked right at the back of the parked vehicles. I got out and Kobus approached me and spoke to me and asked if I was okay. John Mary Extian wanted to know how deep I placed the body in the water, and I replied, on the side next to the bank. She then insisted that I go back to the dam where I dumped the body to check whether the body cannot be seen. I replied that I would not. The rest of them agreed that we should all go home. Zander, Viandre, John Marie and Jaco said they were going for drinks. I found this strange, as Zander had indicated to me earlier in the evening whilst we were in the house, that he was struggling financially. They all said goodbye to each other, and I was the last to drive off, fearing they might shoot at me. I got home the following morning, it was the following day already, and burned my clothes and shoes that I was wearing. I informed my wife that I'm safe. I then had a shower. Thereafter, I tried to sleep, which didn't happen as the events from the previous evening kept me up. Around 9 o'clock, around 7 o'clock in the morning, I started receiving phone calls from Kobus Jansen van Rensburg. The last phone call was around 9, where Kobus asked that we should meet at Wimpy, Dalview, which is also in Brakpan. He assured me that I indicated that I didn't want any issues. He assured me that there would be none. We met at the Wimpy, Dalview, close to 10 o'clock already. Kobus inquired about where I had placed the body and what the chances were of anyone finding it. I felt like he was asking on behalf of the others. He asked if I would go and show him where I had dumped the body and if we would go immediately. I explained to him that I did not have someone to look after my son as my wife was still in hospital. And again, Kobus persisted. And at this stage, as I indicated, it felt like he was acting on someone else's behalf, and I started becoming wary of the situation. So myself and Kobus did go to the location. When we got there, we noticed SAPS vehicles, LCRC vehicles unmarked at the location of where the body was dumped. At this stage, before this, Kobus had a lot of questions and was talkative. At this stage, this is where Kobus became very quiet, and we turned around and drove towards Wimpy Dalview, where my vehicle was located. I got out of his vehicle and went home. Around 5 o'clock the same day, I was requested to give a team member backup in Apex Benoni at the scene of an armed robbery involving SAPS members. Upon my arrival, I found Constable Extian wearing police pants and boots, armed, but dressed in a private jacket. She asked me if Yaku could drive back with me. I found this strange and asked where Yaku was, and this is Yaku Hanekom, and was told that he was in a marked police vehicle, but I should not say anything. I refused to assist. I spoke to my colleague, and all role players were on scene at this robbery, so I left the scene. Around 8 o'clock the same evening.
Apologies, Witness D, before you get to that part. Looking back at your paragraph 37,
Yes.
after arriving at this Benoni scene, you say you found Constable Extian wearing police pants and boots, armed but dressed in a private jacket. What's written in the statement thereafter is, he asked me if Yaku could drive back with me. I thought when you testified, you read that as she asked me. My question is...
She asked me.
So Constable Extian is female.
Yes.
And we should make that correction.
Please repeat what you said. There'll be transcription problems. You spoke over each other.
Okay. So you confirm that Constable Extian is female, Witness C, Witness D.
Advocate, I confirm she is a female.
So the current sentence in your paragraph 37 that reads, he asked me if Yaku could drive back with me, ought to read, she asked me if Yaku could drive back to me, because that is in reference to Constable Extian.
Correct, Advocate.
Thank you. We'll make the correction. You may proceed.
Okay, paragraph 38. Around 8 o'clock the same evening, I received a call from a number I did not recognize. When I answered, I realized that it was Constable Extian. When I said hello, John Marie spoke on the phone and reprimanded me. That's John Marie Extian. Reprimanded me for using a name. She then asked if we could meet. I was apprehensive but realized that I refused to meet with them. They would come after me. So I said we could meet at Rose to Lee in Dalview around 8:30. I then proceeded to Rose to Lee. As I walked in at Rose to Lee, I found Viandre, John Marie Extian, Jaco, Hanekom, and Zander Fritz all waiting for me. They indicated that we should talk about the previous night's event and asked me if I knew that the police had found the body. I said I believed they did. This frustrated Viandre and Jean-Marie. I also realized that they were a couple as they were affectionate towards each other. Jaco indicated that the chief will cover them. This is Chief Julius Mkwanazi. Zander was extremely tense, saying that he cannot go to prison as he has a family that relies on him. I also found Zander Fritz's behavior strange, as he was paying for drinks, despite saying repeatedly that he did not have money.
Witness D, Witness D, my apologies if I may check something with you. At paragraph 39, you state that Jaco indicated that, quote unquote, the chief will cover them. Now you indicate
Yes.
that was reference to
Chief Mkwanazi.
Chief Mkwanazi. How did you know that at the time?
From the previous night's experience when Jaco referred to the chief as well.
Yes.
And I did not see, I could not at that stage see any other chief being involved with something or the degree of this. So I did believe it at that stage to be Julius Mkwanazi.
So none of them said Chief Mkwanazi or Julius Mkwanazi. You drew your own conclusion that reference to
I
Chief
drew my
at
own
the time
conclusion, yes.
was Mr. Mkwanazi. Okay, thank you.
Yes.
You may
Apologies,
proceed then to your paragraph 40.
Okay, so Viandre at this stage said that he suspects that between Kobus and myself, one of us will talk to the police. And if that happened, he would deal with us accordingly. I did not reply to that comment. However, I phoned Kobus in front of Viandre, Jean-Marie Extien, and Jaco Hanekom, and told him to come sort his mess in relation to what was taking place. At some stage, Kobus eventually agreed, and he did proceed to meet with me. Kobus eventually came to Rosalie but did not enter. He informed me that he was outside. I walked out to meet with him as he did not want to enter, as he said he did not want to see them, meaning Viandre, Jean-Marie, Jaco, or Zander. Kobus spoke to me outside the venue. I told him that he needs to sort this thing out because I'm going to the police. Kobus informed me that these guys will kill me if I did, and warned that they are very dangerous. He left shortly after this, and I also left soon after. Roughly 3 days after this, I informed Chris Smith from Track Squad, a company that focuses on vehicle and stock recoveries owned by Etienne van der Walt, about the incident, and said that I wanted to speak to someone about it. After this, sometime after this, the whole group, this is to say the members that were inside the house, came to my office in Parktown and met with my employer and myself, whom I realized knew both Viandre and Kershaw stalls. It made me uncomfortable as I had informed my employer of the incident the Monday morning after the incident took place, and it felt like he was siding with them. My employer at the time was Mr. George Marius, who recorded the whole meeting, including Viandre's reason for placing the body in my company's vehicle. He, however, agreed with them, Zander, Viandre, Kershaw, Etienne, Kobus, and Mackenzie, that I should be examined by means of a polygraph to confirm if I was speaking to the police. A week later, I did the polygraph, 3 hours before my father's funeral. Ms. Laura Moraitis, the wife of Mr. George Moraitis, was the examiner. Paragraph 44. I have submitted various statements to different police officers about the incident, and eventually, after talking to Constable Karlinski from DPCI Toms, he took a statement from me. As far as I can recall, this was around July 2022. There was some movement on the docket in that I was invited for 2 meetings with IPID, where Constable Karlinski took me to meet with the IPID at the Glen Shopping Center, where the initial meeting took place. I cannot remember the exact dates, but I did meet senior IPID members and also gave them a complete statement and even pointed out various scenes.
Witness D, if we could stop there for a moment. You say you have submitted various statements to different police officers.
Yes.
Did you do this at various police stations, or were these police officers you knew privately and you submitted statements to?
Advocate, it's officers that I knew from the work that we do. We work with them quite a bit, so it's police officers I trusted. And it was quite clear upon me giving the statement that they saw difficulty in prosecution in terms of the members, in terms of the high-ranking member that was involved. So they did obtain my statement, but in the end it was only Constable Karlinski that assisted me.
So you are able, if required to identify these police officers that you made statements to?
Yes.
By statements, do you mean verbal statements or written statements?
So to two of the police officers, I made verbal statements. I will be able to for security reasons, I cannot name them now, but I will do so. And then there was a Captain de Toy from Springs, Wynand de Toy. He unfortunately got killed in a shooting in February this year. And then there was a warrant officer, Roots, from CI, Crime Intelligence, that I also gave a verbal statement to.
Now, did any one of them say to you after you had related the story to them, presumably in the same terms that you are relating it to the Commission today, did any one of them respond in a particular way and say anything to you, and if so, what?
They also indicated to me that this group is very dangerous. They also indicated to me that they will try and see where they can go with this statement, because at this stage, most of the community, which is to say police and private sector, knew of the incident. Most of the community knew who was involved with the incident, to a point that even going into a public place, I would meet or see a police officer. He would ask me, what's happening with the case? Are you okay? So a lot of people knew about what had transpired, but I feel, and the idea that I got, or the impression that I got from most of the engagements, is that the individuals were too scared to actually run with the docket. In terms of opening a docket, there was already a docket opened. So my statement would have been an add-on, an annexure on the docket. But a lot of these police officers didn't want to entertain that because of safety reasons.
You say there was already a docket opened. Do you know by who, which police station, and if possible, the case number?
Advocate, I cannot supply you with a case number. I know that there was LCRC the day after the incident. LCRC was on scene, so there would have been a docket that was opened. That's from my experience. So just on the fact that there was already crime scene management at the scene, I knew that the docket was opened.
Okay.
Witness,
Yes, Commissioner.
these statements that you gave, did I hear you correctly that you mentioned that Dutoit? Did you give him a written statement?
I did give Captain de Toy a written statement. At this stage, what had transpired is after he took my statement, Captain de Toy actually started investigating the grouping we mentioned in terms of hijackings, in terms of truck hijackings, blue light hijackings, and stock recoveries.
And
So I cannot give you any indication as to where that statement ended up. But shortly after, I do know that Captain de Toy and Constable Karlinski spoke. And then I obviously, sometime after that, I did submit a final statement to Constable Karlinski, which I believe is attached to the docket that's currently carried by IPIT.
And these other police officers, I think you said Roots and two others that you can't name, those statements which were not written, were they made formally, as in you went to a police station, or you were just chatting to them in a social context?
Police stations, in terms of various applications, being in the security industry, there's certain paperwork that we need for, or functions that we need from the police in terms of fingerprints and that. So I did sit with one of the police officers at his office in Boksburg, where we discussed it, and I explained to him verbally what transpired that evening, and he said he'll get back to me. He is no longer a police officer. Warrant Officer Roots from CI, I did speak to him. I furnished him with a verbal statement, and when I spoke to him was actually the day of a copper recovery in Dalmas, which Commissioner Spies alluded to or spoke of, where EMPD members tried to recover a load of copper, where Etienne van der Walt and Chris Smith was present as well. So myself and Warrant Officer Roots followed up information with Kobus Jansen van Rensburg from Coast Guard. And on the way there, that's where I spoke to Warrant Officer Roots in terms of what had transpired in Spaarwater or in Sally's Village. And then we did the recovery on the copper. We got LCRC out. And that's obviously when Kershaw, Lee and Mackenzie came to a crime scene, wanting to take the crime scene over in terms of managing it, in terms of getting their role players. And we prevented them from taking the crime scene. Captain Hartley of Dalmas assisted us in the crime scene. She actually opened the docket for us, and the recovered copper was submitted back to the client or the complainant through a Form 299.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Witness D. Let's get on.
Let us adjourn for a few minutes. We'll come back when it's indicated.
Thank you, Chair.
Apologies, witness.
I should be muted.
And then that. Apologies, witness D. We had to adjourn. There was a bit of an emergency.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Witness D. Because we stopped so abruptly, we could very well have interrupted the flow of your evidence.
No issues, Advocate. We can proceed.
Chairperson, perhaps I'll ask Witness D to continue in their statement.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. Yes, Witness D, can I ask you to pick up where you were, just at paragraph 45, please?
Thank you, Advocate. I require further police investigation into this matter, as these individuals act with zero accountability, hiding behind senior EMPD officials, even impersonating SAPS officials. Paragraph 46. There is another issue I would like to bring to the Commission's attention.
Witness D,
Yes.
before you go to the other incident, let's just finish off this. Now, at paragraph 37, if you would just go back to paragraph 37. Are you there?
I am there, Commissioner.
Yes. You say there that you're describing the scene of an armed robbery in Apex Benoni, And then you say,
Yes.
you say, upon arrival, I found Constable Exton wearing police pants and boots, armed but dressed in a private jacket. My question is, were there other EMPD members with her? Or was she the only EMPD member on the scene?
Commissioner, if I may correct you, Constable Exton is a flying squad member, rapid response member from Benoni. So there was various other police officers there. There was no EMPD there.
Okay.
It was only herself and other members from SAPS, Response Services or ORS, and then Yaku Anakum.
All right, thank you for that. And then just to go back further, at your paragraph 6, this is where you say that before the briefing, I asked Gobas to come with me as I wanted to go to a convenience store, and you say what the store is, and you said you were uncomfortable, and this is the part, you were uncomfortable, you say, I told Gobas that I'm uncomfortable with the members present as they are dangerous. Who in particular, in the group that you have described in paragraph 5, who were you referring to when you said they are dangerous?
Commissioner, I was referring to the fact that Kershaw Stalls, Aiden McKenzie, Yaku Anakom, and obviously Viandre Pretorius was there. As indicated, myself and Viandre, at any stage, we've not had a good relationship, and they are dangerous. You hear stories, I cannot speculate on hearsay, but things also make sense when you are in line of business, which is to say private security, and things make sense. And what happens with scenes. So that is why I indicated to Kobus, I am uncomfortable with the members that's there. Like I said, I don't know all of the members that were there, but the grouping that I named in my statement is the members that I am concerned with.
So when you say they are dangerous, it's not because you have seen them do anything, it's because of what you've heard about them.
What I've heard, and in, like I said, it's hearsay, but I can believe what I hear from, at that stage I did believe from what I heard from people, and yeah,
All right.
It's not what I've seen.
Okay. And then in paragraph 13, you say that in this bedroom, you're talking about being in everyone else, including me, search the rest of the house. In the main bedroom, you found case dockets where the suspect is identified as a suspect in the particular crime or is otherwise mentioned. And then you found some SAPS forensic bags as well as a number of live rounds of ammunition. In your presence, was this person that you describe as the suspect, was he asked where he got these dockets from, the forensic bags and the live rounds of ammunition?
He was asked about it, but it was quite clear that the issue of the forensic bags, the issue of the case dockets that was found in the house was not a priority from the members that I've mentioned. As soon as this person mentioned the money, the whole dynamic changed. In my opinion, I feel that we went there for one reason, which is to recover the stock, which is to identify further suspects and possibly arrest them. The moment the deceased mentioned the money, to me it became a robbery. To me it became where the goalpost changed now, and the objective was to get the money, and no longer why we went there in the first place for.
Yes. And then so you don't know what happened. Were they left there? Do you know what happened to the dockets?
Commissioner, as I indicated later on in my statement, Etienne, Yaku and Viandre cleaned the scene. So I don't know if it was removed. I cannot speculate to that.
Yes. And then in paragraph 21, you say Viandre approached me and informed me that he will phone General Feroz Khan to fix this. Did you know Viandre to have a relationship or to be familiar, in fact, let me use the word familiar, to be familiar with General Feroz Khan?
Commissioner, I cannot confirm if he's familiar or he has any links to General Feroz Khan. But I also, being in the industry that we are in, we know of General Feroz Khan. And I know that he heads the counterintelligence segment for crime intelligence and in the kidnapping task team. So my motivation for telling Viandre that you cannot phone General Feroz Khan is, it's not his problem, it's no one's problem. It's our problem now. Why involve other people? And that was my issue with it.
Do you know why Viandre thought General Feroz Khan could fix this? Whatever he meant with that.
I have no idea, Commissioner. Yeah, as I said, I have no idea why he even mentioned him.
Yes. Thank you very much. Thank you, Witness D.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Witness D,
Advocate.
we had now gotten to your paragraph 45, which you had dealt with, and I think we are moving on to paragraph 46. There were other issues. Your paragraph 46 speaks to other issues you wanted to bring to the attention of the Commissioner.
Thank you, Advocate. Paragraph 46. There is another issue I would like to bring to the Commission's attention regarding the following private individuals. Jaco Hanekom, Chris Smith from Track Squad, and Etienne van der Walt, who owns Track Squad as well as Titan Security. All at some stage had appointment letters from EMPD stating that they form part of a EMPD truck hijacking task team. These letters were signed by Julius Mkwanazi. They personally participated in operations where recovered or stolen copper, stolen cobalt, stolen chain store products was recovered, where it's always the team indicated, which is Kershaw Stalls, Mackenzie, Etienne van der Walt, Chris Smith, Jaco Hanekom. At a later stage, Zander Fritz joined up with them. At some stage, even myself, in the beginning, participated in operations where stock was recovered. Only to realize that, and this is a question that most of us in our fraternity asked, is a truck gets hijacked, blue light hijacking, a week, 2 weeks later, there is an amount mentioned to the owner or the client that there's a recovery fee of 600,000 Rand or R1 million in relation to the hijacked goods. Then the stock would be recovered. It would be handed to the client with always a 299 letter from the Metro Police members. At one stage, Chris Smith was having paperwork to say that he's appointed by certain insurance companies to look for the stock, and then stock would be held back until the client pays a recovery fee. So basically extorted. This whole team participated in that. And it was done with Chief Julius Mkwanazi's knowledge. Even to the point that, if I can proceed to point 47 or paragraph 47, this goes on from 46.
Witness D,
yes.
Apologies. Before you move to paragraph 47, Commissioner Kumalo has a question.
Witness D, you refer to letters of appointment that says these three individuals are members of a truck recovery unit. Have you seen these letters?
Commissioner, I personally saw the letters, and I will, paragraph 47 deals with that specifically as well, but I did physically see the letters. I was some time ago, a handset of mine, which is to say a cell phone that contained the evidence, was stolen from an office. So I'm not in possession of that evidence anymore, but I did see the letters, and there's also police officers that saw these letters.
Thank you.
That is known to me.
Witness D, may I follow up on that? You don't have a date or timeline in paragraph 46 regarding when you saw these letters. Do you recall when you would have seen them and under what circumstances? In respect of each of them, you say Ekurhuleni, Chris Smith, and Etienne van der Walt. Under what circumstances would you have seen their respective letters? And if you can recall, when?
Advocate, this was, I would say, from late 2021 to middle 2022, when I removed myself from stock recoveries after the Delmas incident. I removed myself from stock recoveries. I stopped performing them. So between that, in that time frame, this is where I saw the letters. And if I may continue with paragraph 47, it will give you background to 46.
Just before that, Witness D, you did not know, quote-unquote, Chief Julius Mkhwanazi personally. Did you know his signature? Because you say the letters were signed by Chief Julius Mkhwanazi.
Commissioner, if I may, at the top of the letter, it was on an EMPD letterhead or Ekurhuleni Metro letterhead. And the letters always started with, to whom it may concern. At the bottom of the wording, there was Senior Soup, I believe it was Senior Soup or Chief J.D. Mkhwanazi, and it was signed, a signature.
Thank you.
Thank you, Witness D. You may proceed. You were now at paragraph 47.
Thank you, Advocate. There was an incident where a truck with a load of copper was hijacked, and myself and other members found the truck at the Kop. The exact address was Setchel and Nederveen Highway in Germiston, Gauteng. This was a month before the incident in Brakpan. Jaco had come to the scene where myself, Kobus, Etienne van der Walt, and I waited for police assistance, that is to say LCRC and police towing, to remove the vehicles after the processes were followed. Ekurhuleni then came to the scene with an Isuzu bakkie fitted with blue lights. I checked the vehicle's registration through MCD, which is an app that allows us to check for ownership. And that basically confirmed that the vehicle was registered to EMPD. When I asked Jaco that after this, why he was driving a state vehicle or a police vehicle, he showed me a letter signed by Chief Mkhwanazi saying that he was an EMPD police officer. Etienne van der Walt and Kobus Jansen van Rensburg were also present when this incident took place.
You then conclude with your paragraph 48.
Okay.
If you could deal with that.
I fear this group and... sorry, Advocate. My apologies.
Please proceed. Please proceed. Thank you.
I fear this group and others like it who are responsible for a host of similar offences and even hijackings or armed robberies using state vehicles and resources. I see that it was not finalised. I fear that left unchecked, it's going to create a massive, massive problem for the rest of society in terms of trust in the police and private security.
And what do you believe the Commission could potentially do in that respect?
Sorry, Advocate, can you just repeat that?
You say that you fear this group and yes, others like them, and you fear what they are capable of doing to society. My question to you, what do you believe the Commission can do to address your fear or to stop your fear from being realized?
Commissioner, at this stage, I am frustrated with the legal process that, especially with this incident and others preceding it, and others that may follow it, with the judicial process that's taking place. These offences, these crimes are well documented. The whole world knows of this, but there's no action being taken against these individuals. I mean, my incident where I'm physically involved took place in 2022. It's to a point that I am having to do my own security as well. I'm having to do PERSEC runs, OPSEC runs, just to ensure that myself is safe, my clients are safe, because they might even target your clients. In terms of the community at large, the blue light hijackings, it is continuing. We have people raiding premises without a search warrant, stating they are police officers. In this group, there is civilians that's identifying themselves as police officers, and they just allowed to basically continue this. And I mean, then, yeah, where do we stop as a community? Where do we stop as we're supposed to be a civilized state. We cannot have this.
Commissioner Baloy?
Yes. Witness, earlier on you said that after the Delmas incident, you removed yourself from stock recovery. What is the Delmas incident, and did it involve any members of law enforcement?
Commissioner, the Delmas incident also took place in 2022. Shortly after I resigned from Guardian's Security, we received intelligence from in relation to a warehouse invasion where 4 truckloads of copper was stolen from a premises in Springs. An informer contacted us and informed us that he has a location of where this copper is being kept. Myself, Kobus Jansen van Rensburg, and Warrant Officer Roots from Crime Intelligence proceeded to the location. We were met by Captain Carla Hartley that was doing patrol in the area. We informed her of our information. We proceeded to this plot and gained access and found the truck with the copper that was stolen in Springs. Approximately 10 minutes after our discovery, Kershaw Lee Stolz in a Metro Police vehicle, Aiden McKenzie in a Metro Police vehicle, rushed into the scene. They drove quite fast into the scene, and they didn't introduce themselves because we know them, and they said they're here for the recovery. Warrant Officer Roots then explained to them that SAPS member is already on scene, and that it's his scene. That he's notified LCRC, and Captain Hartley also indicated that she's a senior officer and that EMPD has no mandate or jurisdiction in Delmas. They were very unhappy with myself, Kobus, Captain Hartley, as well as Warrant Officer Roots. Shortly after this, Chris Smith from Track Squad and Etienne arrived with a helicopter and started taking stock of the recovery stock. That is to say, count the recovered stock and phoning the owners, wanting a recovery fee. So we prevented them from getting a recovery fee for this recovery. It's also important to note where we recovered the copper on the plot in Delmas. That plot was rented, or space of a section of the plot was rented by an ex-girlfriend of Etienne van der Walt. So to me, it feels that the stock was left there after the robbery for them to recover it.
How common are these kind of incidents where law enforcement officers, security companies, and private citizens or civilians have been involved in similar operations such as what you're describing, what you've just described now, from your own experience and involvement?
Commissioner, if I may, like I mentioned, I did withdraw from that. But it is very common. I would say you have 2-3 events a month where it's high value cargo, to say cobalt, copper, or even just a normal blue light hijacking, which, as indicated, and it's prevalent in social media, news media, where police officers are part of the hijacking team. And then again, with the recovery on cobalt and copper, it is a planned operation from the start to the very end of the fake recovery. So these individuals that's doing the recoveries, that invoices the clients or the owners of the property, they would know at the start where the copper is going. They would know which vehicle to take. They would know which route to take. This is very prevalent along the N12, not the N12, my apologies, the N1 and then the N3 going past Alberton. So, and in most cases, until a stage, I would say until 6-7 months ago, it was very prevalent that EMPD members were doing the recoveries with individuals such as Etienne and Chris involved.
Thank you.
After Jaco Hannekom's death.
Yes, thank you, Witness D.
Just one question from me, Advocate Silo. Witness D, in paragraph 5 of your statement, you describe Jaco Hannekom as an SAPS informer of ill repute. But then in paragraph 47, you say at an incident in Brakpan, he arrived driving an Isuzu Baki fitted with blue lights. And when you asked why he was driving a police vehicle, he showed you a letter signed by Chief Mkwanazi saying he was an EMPD police officer. As far as you know, was Jaco Hannekom an EMPD officer or a private citizen?
Commissioner, if I may, Jaco Hannekom was never a police officer. Jaco Hannekom he was a registered police informer. And as indicated, I believe he was involved with these illicit activities. And he was, that evening when I confronted him, he was in fact impersonating a police officer.